Hi, welcome back to Niches with Zed. Today we're taking a look at the best strange parts for each weapon. We're going to do that by looking at the next.backpack.tf aggregator. This lets you search up a weapon and it'll show you in everyone's backpack how many times a strange part has been applied to that weapon. So for example, on the pistol here, you can see player hits is the most popular one, then kills while low health, and buildings destroyed. What are the most expensive strange parts though? Which ones are we going to be spending our money on? The most expensive ones here are robots destroyed at 8.5 keys, domination kills at 8.3 keys, damage dealt at 6.2, cosmetic part kills at 5.7, airborne enemies killed at 4.5, fire survived at 4.2, spies killed at 3.4, projectiles reflected at 3.0, teammates extinguished at 3, buildings destroyed at 3, headshot kills at 3, player hits at 2.5, snipers killed at 2.1, kills with the taunt attack at 2.1, allied healing done at 2, medics killed at 1.9, sappers destroyed at 1.8, freeze cam taunt appearances at 1.8, scouts killed at 1.6, critical kills at 1.2, gib kills at 1.1, and long distance kills at 1.0. There's a bunch more strange parts, but all the prices are worth less than 1 key, so I'm not going to list them here. If you are interested in buying strange parts after watching this video, if you go to my sponsor, manco.store, I've got a URL, theletterzed.ca/parts, and it'll bring you right to a search with all the strange parts sorted by price. If you make a purchase after clicking on that link in the description, that helps support the channel. Okay, let's look at each weapon slot and see which ones are the most popular, and then we'll break it down by class and by item. So for primary weapons, we've got headshot kills, damage dealt, and airborne enemy kills. Secondary weapons, we've got allied healing done, teammates extinguished, and critical kills. For melee weapons, we've got sappers removed, critical kills, and heavies killed. And for cosmetic items, which we won't cover in this video, but you can apply strange parts to cosmetic items as well. We have assists, kills, and fire survived. So let me start with Scout. We're going to cover every weapon that's on the screen here, and except for the 3 that aren't strange, the Unarmed Combat, 3-Ring Blade, and Sun on a Stick. I've got chapters in the video if you want to skip around, so if you only want to look at the ones that you use, or maybe you don't use Scout, and you want to look at some at the other classes, just go ahead and jump around in the video. So starting off with the Scattergun, you can get them in Strange, you can get them in the Strange Australium, Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or you can get them in a Strange Warpaint or Decorated Weapon. The most popular ones are Scouts killed, Heavies killed, and Point Blank kills, but I think if you're looking to spend money on a Scattergun and get the best strange parts, you probably want Dominations, Damage Dealt, and Player Hits. This is what we can see if we filter it down to just the Australian ones. These are how many strange parts are being applied, and Damage Dealt and Player Hits are the 2 most popular. I don't think Scouts killed is an entirely interesting stat to track. So I'll skip it and I'll recommend Dominations. For the Force of Nature, same kind of story here. You can get the Force of Nature in Strange, Strange Australium, or Strange Festive. For our most popular strange parts, we have Point Blank kills, Scout kills, Dominations, Heavy killed, and Damage dealt. I'm going to skip the Scouts kills and Heavies killed and say that the Point Blank kills, Dominations, and Damage dealt are the best bets here. If we filter down just to the Australians, we can see that Point Blank kills and Damage dealt are the most popular. Dominations is at the bottom. I think that's just because Dominations is so expensive, but you could still consider applying it here. I think Dominations fits in really well with the Scout class. It seems like a sassy kind of like, if there's a class you want to track Dominations on, it's Scout perhaps. Let's go to the Shortstop. So Shortstop doesn't really have anything exciting to apply to it. You could apply Dominations if you're looking to put, the best strange part on every weapon, but it's not too exciting. Shortstop you can only get in Strange or from a Warpaint Strange, so not too many options there. For Babyface's Blaster, you can only get it in Strange, and the most popular one is Point Blank kills, which I think is the only one really worth applying here. I wouldn't consider spending your money on some of the more expensive ones, given that this one isn't really, a meta Scout choice. I would save your money here, but Point Blank kills does seem popular here. For the Backscatter, because it can mini crit when you fire at their back from a close range, this is one that you probably want to put critical kills on. Critical kills is going to be able to track both your mini crits and your crits. And because we're putting critical kills on there, you could also consider putting on the not crit nor mini crit kills, which is going to track the times that you don't get the mini crits here. For the winger, same deal, you can only get distance range. Player hits is kind of what people put on their secondaries. I don't think it terribly excites me, but it is maybe the best part here. You could also consider putting on the not crit nor mini crit kills on there. It's popular at 684 applications onto the winger, being tracked on backpack.tf, but it's not a terribly exciting one to put on there. We'll go quickly through the rest of the secondaries. For Pretty Boy's pocket pistol, this one can be strangified, so I got the little strangifier icon on the left. None of these are terribly exciting. You can see how low this is in applications, like 360, 325, 189. Not many people are putting on strange parts on the Pocket Boys pistol. Again, you could do player hits on here, but that doesn't excite me. Now, one that does excite me is the Flying Guillotine. We've got long distance kills, which is going to be cool for tracking you throwing that across the map. Posthumous kills, which is going to track bleeds, or if you're extra fancy, dying immediately after throwing it and then killing somebody. And I think player hits is another good one to track on here too, because you're not always killing with the Flying Guillotine. For the Bonk Atomic Punch, you can get this in Strange or Strange Festive, but there's no strange parts you can apply on this. Same deal with the Critic Cola and the Mad Milk and the Mutated Milk. None of those you can put strange parts on. For the Bat, you can get this in Strange or Strange Festive. I really like the Heavy's Killed Strange part. Kind of harkens back to the Meet the Scout short where Scout's sitting on top with the sandwich after. There's not really anything exciting because Bat's not really a great melee for Scout, so I picked Revenges and Player Hits. Player Hits is a good one for the secondaries and melees, just in general when you're looking for something. I think Revenges is kind of sassy to put on here too. Kind of fits the Scout's playstyle. For the Holy Mackerel, I think player hits is a must on this. Given that the kill feed shows the fish hits and the fish kills, you want to be tracking how many times you hit someone with a fish. And I've tagged the Heavies Killed and Revenges as well. You could put critical kills on there if you were really excited about criticals on your fish. But that doesn't excite me personally. Also to note, you can get the Strange Holy Mackerel in Strange Festive, and you can also Warpaint it. For the Bat Saber, I know it's just a reskin, but here's what people are putting on their Strange Bat Sabers. So if you're going for the totally decked out, expensive bat, you could put player hits, critical kills, and damage dealt on there, but that's going to be running you quite a bit of money. For the Sandman, I think anything with the taunt kill, you should be putting the taunt kill strange part on. Player hits is, again, a tried and true one for the melees. And I like long distance kills. There's a lot of people putting posthumous kills on here, but posthumous kills doesn't really excite me, unless you're trying to track the number of times you die with your the baseball in the air. But that doesn't sound too exciting to me. For Candy Cane, again, you could put player hits on here, but I wouldn't waste your money on that. For the Boston Basher, we have posthumous kills, which I do like on this one because of the bleed damage. We have player hits and kills while low health. I like kills while low health on this one just because of that risk versus reward, where if you miss with a basher, you're going to kill yourself. So if you're tracking the low health kills, you can track the number of times you might have accidentally killed yourself had you missed. Fortunately, there's no strange part for self kills. But oh well. And then player hits is there as well if you want to track how many times you're bashing people with the basher. For the Fan of War, player hits is the most popular. There's also some for MVM, like Giant Robots Destroyed, Tanks Destroyed, and Robots Destroyed, if you want to make an MVM Fan of War. But I think player hits is the only one worth putting on if you're just playing this in casual. For the Atomizer, of course, it's got a taunt kill, so you can put the taunt kill strange tracker on there. We've got critical kills and player hits. Critical kills is going to track the melee attacks that mini crit while you're airborne, so I think it's worth putting it on this one. If you, that is if you like the Atomizer and you don't mind spending the keys on the critical kills. And then player hits is again there for our melees. Our next one here is the Rap Assassin. We've got the posthumous kills again because of the bleed damage. We've got player hits because it's a melee. And I like long distance kills on this one because you can shoot the bobble across the map and peg someone and get a kill. That's it for the scout. We're going to start with a soldier now. Almost everything can be strange again, except for the rocket jumper, because what would you track? The cow mangler, which is unfortunate, and the gunboats. For the rocket launcher, we've got a strange rocket launcher, strange Australian rocket launcher, strange bot killer, strange festive, or a strange war painted or decorated rocket launcher. The most popular ones are kills while explosive jumping, and that's going to be the most popular across all of them. It's airborne enemies kills, gib kills, critical kills, damage dealt. We've also got soldiers killed, dominations, buildings destroyed, and demomen killed. These are all great ones to throw on there. I like filtering it down to just the Australians to look at what the most popular ones are for people spending money on a strange rocket launcher. So we've got damage dealt, airborne enemies killed, gib kills, critical kills, and kills while explosive jumping. I picked damage dealt, airborne enemy, and kills while explosive jumping because those ones kind of fit the theme of the rocket launcher best. Gib kills would also fit, but critical kills, I don't know, it doesn't seem too exciting to me to track when you get a crit. It's either a random crit or a crit scrig. Neither of those were really in your control, so I don't think it's worth tracking. For the original, it's just a reskin of the rocket launcher, but again, it's got the same kind of strange parts. We have the airborne enemy kills, damage dealt, kills while explosive jumping. I believe that's the same as I picked for the last one. Yep. Those are going to be all around your best ones for rocket launchers. For the direct hit, I like swapping one out for buildings destroyed. So that'll be airborne enemies killed, buildings destroyed, and gib kills, just because when you pull out the direct hit, typically you're destroying a building. For the black box, we've got the strange black box, the strange Australian black box, the strange festive black box, or you can more paint it. I think the ones that excite me here are gib kills and maybe damage dealt. I don't really see myself explosive jumping with a black box. I don't see myself destroying buildings. So you could put on some of those more popular ones just to track them, but I don't see myself using the black box for those specifically. So that's why I picked those two. If we go down to the Australian, yep, it's the damage dealt and gib kills. You could also put critical kills, but again, I don't like tracking that one very much. For the Liberty launcher, this one's just strange. We've got kills while explosive jumping and gib kills. I wouldn't put like damage dealt or any of the expensive strange parts on here, just because Liberty Launcher is less popular. When you think about putting strange parts on, you got to think about the resale value too, and if you're putting expensive parts on less popular weapons, you're not gonna have a great time selling that again later. For the Beggar's Bazooka, we're looking at an MVM centric weapon here, so tanks destroyed, giants, robots destroyed, or robots destroyed. You could put all three of these on if this is what you really enjoy playing. I've personally got these three strange parts on a strange canteen, the strange battery canteen, so that'll track it for all of my MVM gameplay instead of just the one rocket launcher. But you know, to each their own. For the airstrike, this one can be strangified and it can also be war painted. It can't be both. That was a glitch early on. People were strangifying war painted items and then trading them up. Can't do that anymore, so you either have a strange vanilla airstrike or you have a strange war paint that turns the airstrike strange, but not both. Like for example, you couldn't take an unusual airstrike and then strangify it. That doesn't work out. Anyways, the most popular one for this is the kills while explosive jumping. And everything else is kind of lackluster after that, so I think just that one is the only one worth putting on it. For the secondaries, not a lot of love here. We've got the buff banner, and the battalion's backup, and the conch. None of those have any strange parts you can put on. The buff banner does have a strange festive buff banner, so if you're looking to deck it out, you could get that one, but other than that, not a lot of options there. For the man treads, you can get kills while explosive jumping, and player hits. Those are the two most popular. They're not super exciting. You can see there's only 289 applications on the man treads, so you could skip this one. For the righteous bison, you've got a strangifier on this one. We've got player hits at 492, and the rest aren't super exciting. Please don't put damage dealt on a righteous bison. That's quite expensive to do. For the shovel, it's suboptimal to use the shovel for your melee, so there's not going to be a lot of applications here. I like kills while explosive jumping on it though. If you're going around rocket jumping on 2 fort or something, and or high tower, and you just want to get vanilla shovel kills, go for it and track it. Sure. For the equalizer, I like the top 3 most popular: the kills while low health, taunt kills, and kills while explosive jumping. Kills while low health makes sense for the equalizer. Taunt kills make sense because you can taunt kill. I like kills while explosive jumping again, just because it's funny to get melee kills while you're rocket jumping. For disciplinary action, this one can be strange or it can be war painted strange. The most popular one is Demoman killed, but we're not going to do that here. Critical kills and player hits are the next most popular ones, and I like both of them on there. I think getting a crit with a disciplinary action is pretty funny. Player hits isn't tracking the teammates whipped, because teammates whipped you get for free when you do disciplinary action in Strange. So don't think it's going to do that, but player hits is still fun to track with these low damage melee weapons. For the Market Gardener, of course, kills while explosive jumping is going to be the most popular one here. Critical hills and airborne enemy kills are kind of optional. I think airborne enemy kills is kind of funny to think about with the Market Gardener. You're up in the air already and you manage to hit someone else who's in the air. Pretty funny. Escape Plan looks a lot like Equalizer. We've got kills while low health, taunt kills, and kills while explosive jumping. Some people like tracking the critical kills, not me personally. For the Pyro Strange weapons, we've got a lot missing here. We have the Nostromo Napalmer reskin excluded. Dragon's Fury, you can warpaint it, but that warpaint isn't strange, so you can't get that in strange. We're missing the Thermal Thruster, Gas Passer, and a bunch of melees as well. For the Flamethrower, Teammates Extinguished is going to be the most popular one for every Flamethrower. We've got posthumous kills, projectiles reflected, and then towards the bottom we've got damage dealt. I've picked these 3 because when we look at just the Australium, we've got projectiles reflected, teammates extinguished, and damage dealt. So I think these are the 3 best ones for the Flamethrower. Again, for the Flamethrower, you get this in Australium, Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or Strange Warpaint, so you got a lot of options if you're trying to deck out a Flamethrower. For the Rainblower, this one's just a reskin that lets you look in Pyroland as well. Same deal, TMH extinguished, posthumous kills, and projectiles reflected. For the Backburner, we have posthumous kills at the top. I don't really like tracking this one. The afterburn when you're dead isn't particularly exciting for me to track. After posthumous kills, we've got teammates extinguished, critical kills, and projectiles reflected. I really like the critical kills on the Backburner just because it's going to track when you're shooting from behind, getting those crits. It'll track the random crits as well, and any mini crits you get, but critical kills is going to be a good one to track nonetheless. For the Flog, you have a Strangifier to get this one. That means you can get like a Strange Collector's Flog if you really want it. For this one's a little more MVM centric. We have Tanks Destroyed as the most popular one, and then critical kills, posthumous kills, burning player kills, and damage dealt. I picked critical kills, damage dealt, if you're looking at it for casual. You could put Tanks Destroyed if you have MVM, otherwise you might want to put on, I'm not sure. None of the other ones really excite me. Onto the secondaries. For the Flare Gun, I think critical kills is the most important one on the Flare Gun. It's going to track when you're getting those repeat flares on burning players. Burning player kills, of course, is another good one to track. Posthumous kills, I don't personally like. Airborne enemy kills is also exciting. Getting those air shots with the Flare Gun feels so satisfying, and it's worth tracking. For the Flare Gun, it's also available in Festive if you want that. I don't really like the Festive Flare Gun that much, but some people might. For the Detonator, you can get this one vanilla, or you can get this one with a Warpaint. The most popular one is posthumous kills. Again, I don't really find that interesting to track. Burning player kills is exciting. Critical kills is exciting for when you're hitting burning players. And I like long distance kills on this ones. For the Man Melter, this one has a Strangifier. Teammates Extinguished is the most popular one. You can also track the critical kills if you want to track both aspects of this weapon, but not necessary. For the Scorch Shot, this one's available as a vanilla Strange or as a war painted Strange. You can get burning player kills, player hits, and damage dealt as the 3 most popular ones. I think these are the ones I have on my Scorch Shot, but I'm not sure. For the Fire Axe, I don't really recommend any strange parts on this. It's pretty suboptimal, but these are the most popular ones if you are thinking about throwing some on there. For the Lollichop, same story. It's suboptimal to use the Lollichop, but some people threw critical kills on there for some reason. For the Axe Extinguisher, you definitely want to be tracking burning player kills. You definitely want to be tracking critical kills. There's some overlap there, but I think they're both worth tracking. You could put Heavy Skilled on there. I've got it on mine, just because it's really fun to kill these high health classes with the Axe Extinguisher, and it doesn't happen very often. And of course, the Extinguisher is available in Strange Festive as well if you want to get that. For the Home Wrecker, of course, Sappers Removed is the most popular one. I also like Buildings Destroyed, but how often are you really breaking buildings with the Home Wrecker? You could probably exclude that one if you're not playing that aggressive of a pyro. For the Power Jack, this one's available as a vanilla or in the Strange War Paints. Kills while low health, I think, is the only one that really makes sense to track on here. You could also throw on critical kills and burning player kills, but you know, those are pretty optional. You're rarely getting kills with the Power Jack anyways when you use it, but it's there. For the Back Scratcher, you can get this one Strange Vanilla or Strange War Paints. Nobody's really putting strange parts on this, and I don't think you should either. For the Neon Annihilator, I do really like the Submerged Enemies Killed and the Sappers Removed. You can also put critical kills on there to track the times that people aren't submerged, but you still get them when they're wet. But I think just the submerged enemy kills is the only one you absolutely need to put on your Neon Annihilator. Okay, onto the Demo Man. So for the Demo Man, we've got a lot of exclusions here. Some of them don't make sense to be strange. But we've got everything except for Alibaba's Wee Booties, Bootlegger, Sticky Jumper, Tide Turner, Scottish Handshake, and Nessie's 9-Iron. For the Grenade Launcher, you can get this one in Strange, Strange Australium, Strange Festive, or a Strange Warpaint. Gib Kills is the most popular, but I like Buildings Destroyed, Airborne Enemies Killed, and Damage Dealt. You could put Gib Kills on if you wanted to, but I think if you're building a Strange Grenade Launcher, might as well put some of the more expensive ones on it to make it the most valuable. When we look at the Strange Australium, that's what everyone else has done. The Damage Dealt, Buildings Destroyed, and Airborne Enemies Killed are the 3 most popular. For Lock and Load, it's the same kind of deal. You can get this one in Strange or Strange Warpaint. We've got Buildings Destroyed, Gib Kills, Airborne Enemies Killed as the 3 most popular, and nothing else seems super exciting to put on here. For Loose Cannon, I like having Gib Kills on this one just because of the double donks. Damage dealt and player hits are kind of optional, but those are the next 2 popular ones. For Iron Bomber, same deal. Damage dealt, Buildings Destroyed, and Airborne Enemies Killed. Again, you could put Gib Kills on here if you prefer that. But I like the top 3 the best. For the Sticky Bomb Launcher, you can get this one in Strange, Strange Australium, Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or the Strange Warpaint. We've got Buildings Destroyed as the most popular, Gib Kills, Critical Kills, Dominations, Damage Dealt. When we look at the Australian ones though, Damage Dealt, Buildings Destroyed, and Gib Kills are the most popular ones. Critical Kills is tied with Gib Kills, but I don't think Critical Kills is too exciting. For the Scottish Resistance, this one's going to be another MVM strange part list. We've got Giant Robots Destroyed, and Tanks Destroyed. Again, if you want to save some money in the long run, if you put it on a Strange Battery Canteen and just put all the strange parts on there, you can track that across all your classes instead of just one weapon. But some people like tracking it on each weapon individually as well. For the Charge and Targe, the only one that looks interesting is player hits, but even then, only 170 people have done that. You can get Charge and Targe in Strange or Strange Festive, but this one's not super exciting. Same with the Swended Screen, we've got player hits, not much else. For the Quickie Bomb Launcher, I'm not sure I have a personal opinion on this, and it doesn't look like other people do. But Damage Dealt, Building Destroyed, Gib Kills are the kind of tried and true ones on the Demo Man weapons. For the bottle, critical kills is popular. Again, it's funny to have a melee with a critical kills tracked on it, but none of these are really necessary on here. Okay, onto the Eyelander. We have critical kills, which I think you should track. Demoman killed is okay, but I like taunt kills and damage dealt much more. Again, anything with a taunt kill, I like tracking the taunt kills on, just for the few times you do manage to pull it off. The Eyelander you can get in Strange, Strange Australium, or Strange Festive. If we look at just the Australiums for Eyelander, we can see critical kills, damage dealt, and taunt kills are the three most popular. Now for the Horseless Headless Horseman's Head Taker, this one can actually be strangified, so you can get a strange, unusual, headless horseman, yada yada. This one I like taking a Halloween-centered approach, so track the critical kills, because that one's the most popular, but then you could also track kills during Halloween or kills under a full moon. Before you go looking for this, it is quite expensive to get one of these, so unless you already have one, I don't recommend trying to strangify your own. For the Scotsman Skullcutter, you can get this one in Strange or Strange Warpaint. Critical kills is the only one that sounds interesting, just because you can't get the random critical hits with the Skullcutter, but other than that, nothing else seems super exciting. Ullapul Caber, Gib kills sounds fun, kills while explosive jumping sounds fun too. Nothing else really excites me here. You've got some class specific kills like snipers killed or medics killed, which is, you know, a feat to pull off, but unless your playstyle is geared around those picks, I wouldn't apply them. For the Claymore, we have not crit nor mini crit kills at the top. We've got player hits, critical kills, pyros killed, and damage dealt. I like player hits, critical kills, and damage dealt. That matches some of the other melees that I've seen, but I'm not sure how often you're using the Claymore. For the Persian Persuader, people like tracking Demoman killed. I like critical kills just to match the other Demoman melees that you're going to be doing with Demo Knight, but it's not necessary. Okay, on to Heavy. We've got a lot of Stranges here, missing a lot of secondary Stranges though. We've got everything except for the Iron Curtain, Robo Sandwich, Fish Cake, Buffalo Steak Sandwich, and Second Banana. Really sad that we don't have a Second Banana Strange. For the minigun, we've got Killswell Ubercharged, which is the most popular one for a lot of Heavy primaries. Heavy's killed doesn't excite me. Robots Destroyed is interesting if you're an MVM player, but it's not necessary. I like damage dealt and dominations, just as someone who used to play a lot of Heavy, getting dominations as a Heavy and hearing his voice lines go off is a lot of fun. And when we look at the Australiums, you can see a lot of people doing damage dealt, kills while ubercharged, and dominations. Of course, you can get the minigun in Strange, Strange Australium, Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or just from a Strange Warpaint. For Natasha, the only one people are putting on this one is Scouts Killed. Kinda being sassy towards the Scouts, but even that's not that exciting. For the Brass Beast, you can get this one in a Vanilla Strange or a Strange Warpaint. This one's going to be MVM focused on Robots Destroyed, Giant Robots Destroyed, and Tanks Destroyed. Again, you can track this on a Strange Canteen if you wanted to get one of those, but if you want to track the individual weapons, you could do it there as well. For the Tomislav, I've gone for the same three I picked for the minigun, kills while ubercharged, damage dealt, and dominations, but any of these could be okay. Hulong Heater, we've got burning player kills as the most popular, and nothing else is super exciting. There's a few MVM ones in there if you're using that in MVM, but it's certainly not the most popular choice. For the family business, I kind of like point blank kills because you're going around being a scout as a Heavy. You can get this one in Strange or a Strange Warpaint, but none of these are being applied heavily. For Sandwich, I didn't realize you could put some Strange parts on here, but there's two that apply, Allied Healing Done and Teammates Extinguished, and I think both you want to have on here. Same with the Dalico's Bar, you can attach those same two Strange parts. For the Fists, I like tracking taunt kills. I also like tracking taunting player kills. I'm not someone who uses the Fists as Heavy, but if you're going around on 2 fort and getting taunt kills and trying to get other people who are taunt killing, those could be fun to track. For Apoco Fists, you could do either the critical kills or the Gib kills, just because those will track when the Apoco Fists are kind of doing its thing. And of course taunt kills, because those are always fun to track. when you can track them. For the Killing Gloves of Boxing, critical kills is the only thing that mechanically works with this. The other two aren't really exciting. For the Gloves of Running Urgently, I like kills while low health, kind of like the Power Jack on the Pyro. You're not really killing people with the Gloves of Running Urgently often, but when you do, it's nice to track when you're at low health. This one you can get in Strange or Strange Festive. Same deal with the Bread Bite, it's just a reskin, so I've tagged the kills while low health again. For Warrior Spirit, this one doesn't get used much. You could throw player hits on here if you really wanted to, but this one's not in the meta, so it's not getting a strange part supplied. For Fists of Steel, this one is more in the meta, but none of the strange parts are exciting because you're just preventing damage when you wear them. You can see some people who are using it in MVM and they're using it to destroy giant robots or tanks, but I don't think that's popular either. For the Eviction Notice, this again isn't in the meta, nobody's really applying strange parts to it. You could attach like point blank kills or player hits or something on here, but none of it's exciting. For Holiday Punch, taunt kills is awesome. When you stun them into the laughing taunt and then taunt kill them with the Holiday Punch, that feels great. Which you can also track with the taunting player kills. Both are awesome. For Engineer, we've got a bunch of stranges here, except for the Short Circuit, Destruction PDA, Golden Wrench, and Eureka effect. For the Frontier Justice, I think critical kills make sense when you're getting those revenge crits. Nothing else is super exciting on here though. You can get the Frontier Justice in Strange, Strange Australium, or Strange Festive. When we track it down to just the Australiums, it's still critical kills. So that one is definitely getting on there, but nothing else really seems exciting. For the Widowmaker, I like the three most popular ones. Point blank kills, damage dealt, and player hits. Keep in mind that point blank kills is kind of buggy. You can be pretty much in melee range and still miss it sometimes. You almost have to be touching someone else to get a point blank kills. But if there's a weapon that makes sense, it's the Widowmaker. The Widowmaker you get from a Strangifier. For the Pomson 6000, that is also a Strangifier. None of these are super exciting strange parts to apply on it. You could do Spies Killed or Cloak Spies Killed, but I don't know. Nothing really works with the meme status of this weapon. For the Rescue Ranger, a lot of people have put on Spies Killed. If this is your main primary, you could also put on Damage Dealt or Player Hits, but if you're not using it very often, I don't recommend dropping all that money on strange parts on your Rescue Ranger. So for the Wrangler, you can get that in Strange or Strange Festive. None of the strange parts are super exciting. None of them work with the what the Wrangler's trying to do. You could make an MVM centric one with giant robots destroyed and robots destroyed, but nothing's really exciting on that one. For the Geiger counter, I mean, same deal. Some people are using it to track MVM, but doesn't really excite me. Now for the wrench you can get in Strange, Strange Australium, Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or you can get it in a Strange Warpaint. I like Sappers Removed and Spies Killed as the two most popular. You could also build this as a MVM wrench with robots destroyed, and some of the other ones like Spies and Scouts destroyed. But other than that, I think just the top two are the ones worth applying. And the people with Australiums agree, because those are the top two most popular when we just look at the Australiums. For Gunslinger, Sappers Removed, Critical Kills, and Taunt Kills. Critical Kills is going to track when you hit someone 3 times with a Gunslinger and you get that crit uppercut. I mean, it'll also track the mini crits that you get if someone's Geradi'd, but we won't tell anyone that that's what that's tracking. For the Southern Hospitality, same deal, Sappers Removed, Spies Killed, and I like Posthumous Kills for when you kill someone with bleed damage. For the Jag, same deal, Sappers Removed, Spies Killed, nothing else super exciting on here. For the Medic, we've got almost everything strange, we're just missing out on the Vitasaw and the Solemn Vow. Syringe Gun isn't in the meta, and it's the only thing maybe worth tracking is player hits. But or if you're really fancy, you could track posthumous kills for the times that you die, but your syringes are still in the air. But none of this is exciting. For the Blutsauger, this one's available in Strange or the Strange Australium. Again, player hits is the only one that maybe makes sense, but even then, it's not super worthwhile. When we look at just the Australian Blutsagers, it's the same deal. Player hits is the only one people are applying. For the Crusader's Crossbow, we have Allied Healing done at the number 1 spot. That one's got 14,000 compared to the rest. Long distance kills I like, player hits I like. I don't think player hits is going to track when you hit your teammates. That's just going to track when you're hitting enemies. But that's still the 3rd best part on this one. This one you can get in Strange, Strange Festive, or a Strange Warpaint. For the Overdose, nothing here is super exciting. Overdose is kind of tracking movement speed, and there's no strange part for that. Metagun, the only one that you can apply is Allied Healing done, and I think it makes sense to apply it. We have the Strange Australium, the Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or the Strange Warpaint. So you got lots of choices for your metagun. For the Kritzkrieg, same deal, Allied Healing done, but you don't have a selection of different options here. Same story for the Quick Fix, lots of Allied Healing done. For the Vaccinator, you can do a Strangifier on this one. So if there's a Collector's Vaccinator out there, you can make a Strange Collector's Vaccinator, and then slap Allied Healing done on it. Onto the melees. The Bonesaw, you can get in Strange or Strange Festive. None of them have super exciting Strange parts. So, don't bother with this one. For the Ubersaw, you definitely want to be tracking your taunt kills. Critical kills and player hits are less important. I like the idea of tracking player hits just so you can track how many times you've gained Uber off of your enemies. But none of it's necessary. You can get the Strange Ubersaw, Strange Festive Ubersaw, or the Strange Warpainted Ubersaw. For the Amputator, remember that the taunt can do some healing, so you can slap Allied Healing done on this. And you can do that on your Strange Amputator or your Strange Warpainted Amputator. For Sniper, a lot of Stranges. The only ones missing are the Fortified Compound, which is a reskin, the Darwin's Danger Shield, and Cozy Camper, which I don't think makes sense to be Strange anyways. For the Sniper Rifle, this is where all the headshot kills are going. 33,000 headshot kills on just the Sniper Rifle. I like long distance kills. You could do snipers killed, heavies killed, medics that have full uber charge. You got airborne enemies killed. You got lots of cool options for this one. My personal choice is headshot kills, long distance kills, and damage dealt, but any of these top options are super good. You can get the Sniper Rifle in Strange, Strange Australium, Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or Strange Warpaint. And when we look at just the Australium Sniper Rifles, that's what people are choosing. Headshot kills, damage dealt, sniper kills, or long distance kills. Those are the 3-4 most popular. For the Upper Hand, it's just a reskin, but the same kind of story for this one. Headshot kills, damage dealt, player hits, snipers killed, and long distance kills. For the Huntsman, I agree with the top 3 ones here. The headshot kills, taunt kills, and long distance kills, those all feel great to track. The Huntsman you can get in Strange or Strange Festive, so make sure you pick which one you want to apply Strange parts before you start applying them. The Sydney Sleeper, this one's harder because you're not getting headshots with it. You can get long distance kills. I like Teammates Extinguished for the times you are getting those full charge Girardi shots on your teammates, but it's not really, not really necessary. How often are you really using the Sydney Sleeper anyways? Bizarre Bargain, this is one that you could consider spending a little more money on, since this is kind of like the meta choice for some snipers. You can do headshot kills, long distance kills, there's the snipers and heavies as well. I like dominations on this one just because this is your kind of try-hard sniper weapon. Maybe worth putting the dominations on there. For the Machina, we've got headshot kills, of course. The rest aren't as popular. You could put dominations, airborne enemies killed, damage dealt, or long distance kills, but none of them are super necessary. For the Shooting Star, it's a reskin, but we can kind of see what people are spending money on when they choose the more expensive reskin. Headshot kills is up there, damage dealt, and long distance kills. So if you are picking between the Machina and the Shooting Star, I think this is the one to slap your expensive strange parts on. The Hitman's Heatmaker, you can do headshot kills and long distance kills, or if you want to build a MVM one, you could do Robots Destroyed, Giant Robots Destroyed. But this one isn't used as much as the other ones, so, you know, consider only 4,000 people have applied headshot kills versus the, 36,000 of the sniper rifle. So, make your choice. It gets even worse when we look at the classic. You've only got 1,300 people applying headshot kills or GIB kills, so you can really see how it shifts depending on how in meta the Strange is. For the SMG, you can get this one in Strange, Strange Australium, Strange Festive, or a Strange War Painted one. Player hits and damage dealt are the two most popular ones. You can also tack Spies Killed on there. When we look at the Australium, it's the same order. I really only think it's worth putting the player hits and damage dealt on if you are doing that at all. But again, not many people are putting Strange parts on their SMG. For Cleaner's Carbine, player hits, maybe. It's the most popular one, but none of it's exciting. The Girardi you can get in Strange or Strange Festive, or you can get the Self-Aware Beauty Mark. TMA's Extinguished is the only Strange part you can apply, and it makes sense to put on. And there's the Self-Aware Beauty Mark. Again, TMA's Extinguished is the only one. For the Kukri, we've got Spies Killed at the number 1. But again, only 731 applications. This one's not super necessary to do. For Tribalman's Shiv, this one's got bleed on it, so you can put posthumous kills on it, but nothing else is exciting. Bushwhacker, you've got critical kills and cloak spies kills. I like those two just because, you think about the times you are getting a kill with a Bushwhacker, and it is when a spy is coming at you and you've thrown Girardi on them. So critical kills or cloak spies killed kind of covers both of those. For the Shahansha, we've got kills while low health. Makes sense to maybe put on here because Shahansha cares about your health, but it's not super important. Again, you can get Shahansha in Strange or Strange War Painted. For the Spy, we have a few missing here, but some of them are reskins. We have the Big Kill missing, Black Rose missing, Wangaprick missing, the Disguise Kit doesn't have a Strange. The Enthusiast Timepiece and Quackenbert reskins don't have Stranges, and the AppSap doesn't have a Strange. For the Revolver, this one's not the most popular choice, but you could throw Pyros Killed, Player Hits, or Damage Dealt on there. I like Player Hits and Damage Dealt, but none of it's necessary. You can put this on your Strange Revolver, your Strange Festive Revolver, or your Strange War Painted Revolver. For the Ambassador, of course, you want to put a headshot kills on this one. 10,000 people have done so. You can get this on a Strange, Strange Australium, or a Strange Festive. When we filter down to just the Australiums, headshot kills is the most popular, and then not a lot else. For the L'Étranger, we've got player hits, pyros killed, engineers killed, but nobody's really putting things on the on this one. You're mostly using it for the extra cloak, so it's not super exciting to try to get kills with this. For the Enforcer, if you're trying to get kills on medics with it, maybe that's worth tracking the medics that have full Ubercharge, but nobody's putting Strange parts on these. The Diamondback, critical kills make sense to put on here, given that you're getting crits with the Diamondback. Not a lot else that makes sense. For the Knife, you can get this one in Strange, Strange Australium, Strange Bot Killer, Strange Festive, or Strange War Painted. The one that I like the most on here is the medics killed that have full Ubercharge. It's not the most popular one, but I think it's exciting to track how many Ubers you've picked off. If there's any specific class that you don't enjoy, you could put the heavies killed, engineers, pyros, or medics killed on there if you want to track that, but none of that really excites me. When we look at just the Australiums, same kind of order, but nothing super exciting. For the Eternal Reward, we have engineers killed, heavies killed, dominations, a lot of different things you could put on here, but none of them are super exciting. I like the medics killed that have full Ubercharge on all my knives, but again, you don't have to do it. For the Kunai, I like the ones that care about your health, so kills while low health and full health kills. We've also got the medics killed that have full Ubercharge, or some of the class targeted ones like heavies killed, pyros killed, engineers killed, medics killed. You could put any of those on. For the Big Earner, again, you can target specific classes if you hate heavies or engies. I like the medics killed that have full Ubercharge, but not a lot else. For the Spicicle, I think Pyro's Killed is the one that I do like on this one, just because Pyros can take away your Spicicle. And so it feels extra good when you get a kill on them. You can also track the medics killed that have full Ubercharge, but not a lot else. The Invis Watch can be strange, but no strange parts. Same with the Cloak and Dagger and the Dead Ringer. The Sapper, you can get this one in Strange or Strange Festive, but again, no strange parts. Same with the Snack Attack and the Red Tape Recorder. Going into our last section, the multi-class strange weapons, we have a lot of stranges, but we've also got a lot missing. So we're missing the Luger Morph, the Base Jumper, the Conscientious Objector, Freedom Staff, Bat Out of Hell, Hamshank, and Pretty Machete. Those are all missing. When we look at the ones that we can do, Pistol, it's got player hits on there as the most popular. It's just one you could track. It's not tracking anything exciting. Pistol you can get in Strange or Strange Warpaint. You can also get the Reskin Capper. Same kind of story, player hits is the most popular, but you don't have to put anything on this one. For the shotgun, it's hard to pick out which class you're building the shotgun around when we look at the most popular ones, because it could be Pyro, it could be Soldier, it could be Heavy, it could be NG. So it's hard to build around the specific one. I like some of the ones like Airborne Enemy Kills, player hits, and damage dealt. I don't think point blank kills is, I've mentioned it before, but point blank kills is kind of buggy. You can be in melee range and still not get a point blank kill. You have to be right up against them, so I don't recommend that strange part. Pyros Killed maybe makes sense if you are yourself a Pyro and you're trying to track Pyro duels, but nothing super exciting. Shotgun you can get in Strange, Strange Festive, or a Strange Warpainted. The Panic Attack, nothing sticks out as super exciting. Only 770 in the top slot, so you could probably skip this one. Reserve Shooter is super popular for airborne enemy kills, and the rest aren't popular. But if you're playing like a combo class and you're putting people up in the air and shooting them with the Reserve Shooter, that can feel fun. Now this one is super specific, given that only a handful of people have this, but if you have a Saxy, some of them are strange, so you could put critical kills or player hits or taunt kills. A fun thing I learned is that the Saxy inherits the taunt kills of all any melee that has a vanilla taunt kill. So I think that's the Heavies, Finger Guns, and the Spies little flourish. So you could put taunt kills and track two classes at once. Same with the Memory Maker, I believe it does the same thing, but nobody's applied strange parts on theirs. Now the Frying Pan, this one is going to be super expensive to get strange. You get this with the Strangifier, the Strange Bacon Grease. The three most popular are critical kills, damage dealt, and player hits. Again, this one's kind of just for the memes. Frying Pan isn't meta for anybody other than maybe Demo Man. But if you're putting strange parts on this, you're just flexing. And speaking of flexing, the Golden Frying Pan is going to be flexing even harder. If you're getting this one, you might as well put the expensive ones on here. Damage dealt, critical kills, and player hits. You could also do dominations or robots destroyed. Really, if you have a Golden Frying Pan, put whatever strange part you want on it. You can afford it. For the Necro Smasher, this one can be strangified. I can't remember how expensive that is, but if you do have a strange one, you can maybe track the Halloween-centric ones, kills under a full moon or kills during Halloween. Makes sense to put it on a Halloween item. For the Crossing Guard, I don't think any of the strange parts are worth it. Nobody's really putting them on the Strange Crossing Guard, but they're here in case you are thinking about it. For the Half Satoichi, this one could be on Soldier or Demo Man. Most likely you're using it on Demo Man. So you could track Demo Man killed, you could track kills while low health, and critical kills. That kind of matches the other Demo Knight melees. You could track soldiers killed too, but there's no guarantee that the soldiers or demo men that you're killing also have the half Satoichi. It's not tracking honorable duels. And our last one here is the Pain Train. Defender kills I like because that's the only time you're using this is on like a control point. Maybe you can attack a defender. None of the other ones really make a lot of sense though. Okay, that's it. We covered every weapon in the game that can be strange. If you're thinking about buying some strange parts, definitely consider buying them through mango.store. They're a cash item marketplace and they sponsor my videos. So you can buy any of the expensive strange parts or any of the cheap ones by following my link, theletterzed.ca/parts, and that'll bring you right to my referral, and it'll help support the channel if you buy anything on the site after clicking on that link. And again, a special thank you to my members. Thank you, Ghost, for being a video supporter, and thank you, Lucy and Tensheep, for being Clan Pride supporters. Always appreciate membership support. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me for the almost an hour it's been, and best of luck out there coming up with the strange parts for your weapons. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear if there's a combination that's that is best, but wasn't captured by the most popular applications. So totally let me know about that. Anyways, thanks for checking out the Stranges, and hope you take care of yourselves out there. Bye bye.